In the heart of Europe lies a country so small you could walk across it in 4 hours. Yet it holds secrets that challenge everything you think you know about power, beauty, and what it means to truly be free. They say Liechtenstein is home to the most beautiful women in Europe. But that's just the beginning of what makes this place impossible to forget. What happens when 39,000 people share drinks with their prince every year? When cows wear crowns? And when a country smaller than most cities holds more mysteries per square mile than anywhere else on Earth? You're about to discover 15 mind-blowing truths about Liechtenstein that will shatter every assumption you've ever had about this mysterious principality. These aren't tourist facts. These are stories that reveal the soul of a nation that shouldn't exist, yet thrives in ways that defy logic. Stay until the end, because something about this place will change how you see not just Liechtenstein, but what a country can truly be. Number 1. Liechtenstein didn't fight for independence. It didn't evolve from tribal lands. It was purchased. In 1719, a wealthy Austrian prince named Anton Florian literally bought 2 small territories, Vaduz and Schellenberg, not because he loved the land, but because he needed a seat in the Holy Roman Empire. For 200 years, no prince even bothered to visit. But here's the twist that changed everything. In 1938, Prince Franz Joseph II became the first prince to actually live in the castle. Suddenly, this purchased territory became a living, breathing monarchy where the ruler wasn't a distant landlord, but your neighbor. The current Prince Hans Adam II doesn't govern from behind palace walls. He walks the same streets as his subjects, shops in the same stores, and every August 15th, he does something that would seem impossible anywhere else in the world. Number 2. Every National Day, Prince Hans Adam II doesn't give a speech from a balcony. He opens his castle gates and invites the entire population, all 39,000 citizens, for an apéro. Picture this. You finish work, walk up to a 700-year-old castle, grab a glass of wine from your prince, and your kids play in the same gardens where medieval knights once trained. The current prince's net worth? $7.6 billion. Yet there he is, every year, shaking hands and sharing stories. This isn't ceremony, it's community. In a world where leaders hide behind walls, Liechtenstein's ruler tears his down annually. The conversations are real, the laughter genuine, and the barriers between royalty and citizens dissolve in golden evening light. But don't mistake this intimacy for simplicity. This tiny nation has built an industrial empire that operates on a scale most people can't comprehend. Number 3. When you think of global industrial powerhouses, you think Germany, China, America. You don't think of a country smaller than most suburbs. Yet Liechtenstein is home to Hilti, those red power tools used to build skyscrapers worldwide. Ivoclar Vivadent creates the dental implants in millions of mouths globally. ThyssenKrupp Presta manufactures steering systems for cars from Beijing to Detroit. Here's the staggering reality. This nation of 39,000 people exports more per capita than Germany, more than Japan, more than Switzerland. They've turned their smallness into their superpower, focusing not on mass production, but on precision and innovation that larger countries can't match. The factories here don't sprawl across industrial zones. They're integrated into mountain valleys, their smokestacks rising alongside church spires, their workers cycling home through villages where tradition and technology exist in perfect harmony. But the most beautiful export from these mountains isn't industrial at all. Number 4. The legend claims Liechtenstein has the most beautiful women in Europe. But legends need proof. What you notice isn't just physical beauty. It's something deeper. There's a confidence born from security, a grace that comes from growing up in a place where trust is currency and nature is your backyard. These women carry themselves with an elegance that goes beyond fashion or genetics. Perhaps it's the Alpine air, perhaps it's the stress-free lifestyle, or perhaps it's something in the Rhine Valley water. But there's an undeniable quality here that speaks to harmony between person and place. Beauty that emerges when life isn't a constant struggle for survival, when community support allows individual radiance to flourish. The elderly women possess the same quality, weathered hands that speak of mountain work, eyes bright with contentment rather than worry. Beauty here isn't about youth. It's about alignment with a way of life that nurtures rather than depletes. This grace has ancient roots, stretching back to a mountain people with secrets of their own. Number 5. Hidden in the highlands of Triesenberg lives the legacy of the Walser people, mountain nomads who migrated here from Switzerland's Valais region in the 13th century. They still speak Walsertich, a German dialect so unique that even other Germans can't understand it. These aren't tourist attractions. These are living communities maintaining traditions older than most European nations. The greeting, "Hoi," echoes through valleys in the same intonation their ancestors used 7 centuries ago. The Walser brought more than language. They brought Alpine farming techniques that transformed barren mountain slopes into productive pastures. Their knowledge of reading weather, of when to move cattle, of how to survive brutal winters, became the foundation of Liechtenstein's mountain culture. Their wooden houses still cling to impossible slopes, built with construction methods passed down through generations. Dark timber weathered by centuries of mountain storms, intricate carvings that tell stories of seasons and survival. And those decorated cows you've been seeing? That's pure Walser tradition, still alive after 700 years. Number 6. Every September, something magical descends from the mountains of Malbun and Triesenberg. The Alpabfahrt, the ceremonial descent of cattle from high alpine pastures, but only if the season was successful. If no animals were lost, the lead cows are crowned with elaborate headdresses of flowers and mirrors, their necks heavy with enormous bells called trickeln. This isn't performed for tourists. The dates aren't set by tourism boards. They're decided by farmers based on weather and grass conditions. You might plan a trip and miss it entirely, because nature sets the schedule, not commerce. The procession fills narrow village streets with sound that seems to shake the mountains themselves. Children clap and elderly residents wipe away tears, not from sentiment, but from recognition of another year survived. Another season of partnership between human and animal completed successfully. There's something profound about a celebration that honors not human achievement, but successful partnership with animals and land. This respect for nature runs deeper than ceremonies. Number 7. Liechtenstein has achieved something most nations only dream of. They've industrialized without sacrificing their environment. The air is so clean that respiratory ailments are virtually unknown. The water is so pure that mountain streams are safe to drink directly. Solar panels cover rooftops throughout the principality, making it one of Europe's leaders in renewable energy per capita. But here's what's remarkable. This isn't because they lack industry. It's because they've made environmental protection a national obsession. Every development project must prove it won't harm the ecosystem. Every business operates under some of Europe's strictest environmental standards. Families swim in pristine mountain lakes, where the water is clear enough to see the bottom at depths of 30 feet. Children drink from alpine streams without a second thought. The Rhine River, which forms the western border, runs cleaner here than anywhere else along its entire course. The result? A country that looks the same as it did 100 years ago, despite being one of the world's most industrialized per capita. This environmental success creates another kind of safety entirely. Number 8. Liechtenstein has one of the world's lowest crime rates, But the statistics don't tell the real story. Crime isn't just rare here, it's almost incomprehensible to residents. Farm shops operate on pure honor system. Bicycles remain unlocked for years. Children walk to school alone at ages that would terrify parents elsewhere. Expensive equipment sits unguarded in public spaces. The secret isn't surveillance or harsh punishment, it's social fabric. In a country of 39,000 people, anonymity is impossible. Everyone knows everyone, and reputation is everything. Your neighbor's trust isn't just valuable, it's essential for daily life. But this safety net of social connection creates an unexpected challenge. When everyone knows everyone, what happens when the newcomers start to outnumber the locals? Because change is coming whether Liechtenstein wants it or not. Number 9. Here's the paradox, threatening to transform everything. Liechtenstein is so prosperous that Liechtensteiners are becoming a minority in their own country. Over 20,000 people commute daily from Switzerland and Austria to work here. They're called Grenzgänger, border crossers. Meanwhile, more than a third of residents are foreign nationals who've moved permanently to the principality. The challenge isn't hostility, it's preservation. How do you maintain culture when the newcomers outnumber the tradition keepers? How do you stay Liechtenstein when success makes you increasingly international? Traditional village festivals now require translation into multiple languages. Ancient customs must be explained to neighbors who didn't grow up hearing the stories. The Walser dialect competes with English in business meetings held in buildings where German was once the only language spoken. Yet this challenge contains its own evolution. The children playing together in village squares speak 3 languages without effort, creating something entirely new. Number 10. Walk through Vaduz and you'll hear German, English, Italian, French, and languages from across the globe, sometimes in the same conversation. This isn't confusion, it's evolution. Liechtenstein has become naturally multilingual not through force, but through necessity and opportunity. Children grow up trilingual without effort. Adults navigate 5 languages in a single workday. Yet the local Alemannic German dialect survives, protected by daily use in homes and community gatherings. The greeting "Hoi" remains universal, whether you're addressing the prince or the postman. Traditional phrases for mountain weather and farming cycles persist alongside international business terminology. This linguistic agility has transformed them into something unexpected on the world stage. When you can communicate with everyone, you can influence everyone. And that's exactly what they've done. Number 11. At the United Nations, when Liechtenstein speaks, the world listens. This seems impossible until you understand their strategy. They've become specialists in international law, particularly in areas like the International Criminal Court and the legal framework for prosecuting war crimes. The Liechtenstein Institute on Self-Determination shapes policy for nations hundreds of times larger. Their secret? They focus on quality over quantity. Instead of trying to influence everything, they become the world's leading experts in specific areas. When you need the best legal minds on state sovereignty or international justice, you call Vaduz. This tiny nation has authored legal frameworks used by countries across 6 continents. Their diplomatic influence extends far beyond their physical borders, proving that in a connected world, expertise matters more than territory. But their most controversial influence has been in an area that once nearly destroyed their reputation. Number 12. Liechtenstein spent decades rebuilding its financial reputation, and the transformation has been remarkable. Once synonymous with financial secrecy, they voluntarily implemented some of the world's strictest transparency standards. The automatic exchange of information ensures all financial data is shared with relevant governments globally. The result? They've moved from being seen as a tax haven to being recognized as a legitimate international financial center, specializing in wealth management and fiduciary services for ultra-high net worth individuals. Now they attract clients not because they hide money, but because they manage it better than anywhere else. The same precision that creates world-class power tools now creates world-class financial instruments. This transformation required abandoning profitable old ways for principled new ones. But then, Liechtenstein has always chosen principle over profit when the choice truly mattered. Number 13. Liechtenstein's last military engagement was in 1866, and is a story that perfectly captures their national character. They sent 80 soldiers to support Austria against Prussia. All 80 returned home safely, along with 81 men. They'd made a friend along the way and brought him home. Since then, they've chosen diplomacy over force, mediation over confrontation. Their defense is provided by Switzerland, freeing them to focus entirely on prosperity and peace. The result is a generation that has never known war, never known the fear of invasion, never known the economic burden of military spending. Police officers look more like friendly guides than authority figures. Children play in areas that might be militarized zones in other countries. The only weapons visible are ceremonial pieces in museums. This commitment to peace has created space for something remarkable to flourish in the mountain valleys. Number 14. Deep in the Liechtenstein mountains, innovations are born that change the world. The same valleys that once hid medieval castles now conceal research facilities developing revolutionary materials, medical breakthroughs, and engineering solutions. The University of Liechtenstein may be small, but its research impact is disproportionately massive. They've created an ecosystem where traditional Alpine wisdom meets cutting-edge technology. Ancient knowledge of materials and precision craftsmanship merges with modern science to create innovations no one else imagines. The result? Solutions that are both revolutionary and reliable, bearing the precision that comes from a culture that values perfection over speed, quality over quantity. But this success has created a problem that threatens the very foundation of everything they've built. Number 15. Paradise has a price tag, and for many Liechtensteiners, it's becoming unaffordable. Success has created a cruel irony. The country is so prosperous that its own young people can't afford to live there. A modest apartment costs more than most people make in a year. Traditional families find themselves priced out of communities their ancestors built. The debate rages. Should they limit foreign investment to preserve affordability? Should they expand construction to meet demand? Each choice threatens something precious, either the economic success or the social fabric. This isn't just about money, it's about identity. What good is prosperity if it destroys the community that created it? The very success that made Liechtenstein remarkable now threatens to make it unrecognizable. Yet perhaps this crisis contains the seeds of their next evolution. Step back from all these facts, and a deeper truth emerges about Liechtenstein, and perhaps about what any society can achieve. This isn't just the story of a small country that succeeded. This is the story of what happens when scale meets purpose, when tradition embraces change without losing its soul, when success is measured not just in wealth, but in well-being. Liechtenstein has achieved something remarkable. They've proven that progress doesn't require sacrificing what makes life meaningful. They've industrialized without poisoning their environment. They've globalized without losing their identity. They've prospered without abandoning their neighbors. But they've also shown that every paradise faces its own challenges. Success creates new problems. Prosperity brings new responsibilities. Even the most perfect systems must evolve or risk losing what made them perfect in the first place. The question isn't whether Liechtenstein is perfect. It's whether their solutions can teach us something about what becomes possible when a society decides that taking care of each other isn't just government policy, but the foundation of everything else. Remember that question from the beginning? What happens when 39,000 people share drinks with their prince every year? The answer isn't about monarchy or tradition or even wealth. It's about what becomes possible when a society decides that connection matters more than competition, when small chooses to be mighty by caring for its own. In a world growing more divided, more uncertain, more afraid, perhaps the most beautiful thing about Liechtenstein isn't their mountains or their prosperity or even their legendary women. Perhaps it's their reminder that peace is possible, that trust can be rebuilt, that small can be mighty when small cares for its own. If this journey through Liechtenstein left you wondering what your own community could become, if these stories sparked something in you about the power of choosing connection over division, then this message needs to reach others who are searching for the same answers. Hit that like button if you believe that somewhere in Liechtenstein's impossible success lies a blueprint for what we could all build together. Because every like tells people that stories about hope and possibility matter more than stories about fear and failure. And here's what I need from you. If you could sit down with Prince Hans Adam II at that annual castle gathering, what would you ask him? What would you want to understand about creating a society where everyone truly belongs? Your question might be the key that unlocks something the rest of us have been trying to figure out. The world is waiting for your question in the comments section. Share this with someone who needs to remember that perfect places aren't fairy tales. They're blueprints. They're proof that the world we want to live in isn't just possible. It already exists in a castle overlooking the Rhine, where 39,000 people have figured out something the rest of us are still learning. Until our next journey to the edges of what's possible, keep believing that small acts of caring can reshape the world.